Television has always been a strange kind of mirror. It reflects laughter, pain, fear, joy, but always through a layer of polish, a layer of lights, a layer of control. For 30 years, Johnny Carson mastered that control. He was the calm center of the storm, the captain of late-night laughter, the man whose smile reassured America that everything was fine. He had seen it all: guests who froze, guests who fainted, animals that misbehaved, comedians who bombed, celebrities who confessed too much. And every night, no matter what, Johnny Carson stayed in his chair, steady as bedrock, gliding through chaos with the grace of a man who had nothing left to prove. But television, true live television, does not bow to legends. It does not care how iconic you are, how beloved you are, or how unshakable the world believes you to be. Some nights break the pattern. Some nights peel back the mask. Some nights tear a hole in the reality we think we understand, and for a split second, we see the human being behind the legend. This story is about one of those nights. The night Johnny Carson, America's most trusted entertainer, stood up in the middle of his own show and walked off the stage without a word. No smile, no joke, no explanation. Just a silent departure that left the audience frozen and the nation breathless. No one knew why. No one knew what had happened. And for years, decades, the truth remained hidden. Until the story finally surfaced. Quietly, painfully, beautifully, everything began normally. The band played a bright jazz riff. The curtains parted. Johnny stepped into the spotlight with that legendary stride, a mix of confidence and effortless charm that only he could pull off. Cameras panned, the crowd cheered, and Johnny delivered his opening monologue, sharp, funny, smooth as silk. No one sensed anything different. No one saw the tension gathering behind his eyes, the kind of tension so subtle, even the cameras failed to capture it. Johnny sat behind his desk, fingers tapping lightly, the way he always did when something weighed on him. But the audience didn't see that. America didn't see that. All they saw was the man who made them feel safe every night, the host who never faltered, the legend who never stumbled. But inside, quietly, secretly, something was beginning to unravel. If you re-watch the footage now, with the knowledge of what really happened that night, the signs are unmistakable. Johnny's smile was a little tighter, his posture stiffer, his laughter shorter, more controlled, as if he were rationing his energy for something unseen. He glanced backstage more often than usual, quick, nervous looks, as though waiting for something he desperately hoped wouldn't come. And then, during the show's second interview, everything changed. The guest was a loud comedian, the kind of performer who filled the room with chaos. He bounced in his chair, talked over Johnny, spilled his water twice. Normally, Johnny loved that energy. It gave him space to play the straight man, to set up jokes, to control the rhythm. But that night, Johnny wasn't in control. For the first time in decades, Johnny Carson looked overwhelmed. He tried to laugh. He tried to keep the show moving. He tried to give the audience what they came for. But his eyes, those famously calm, focused eyes, revealed everything. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. It happened suddenly. No warning, no dramatic music, just a tiny shift in Johnny's posture that only a handful of people in the studio noticed. He leaned back in his chair. His hands trembled slightly. His breathing changed, slow, shallow, tense. Then, without breaking the guest's story, Johnny reached for his microphone. He unclipped it, carefully, almost tenderly. The room fell subtly silent, as if a giant hand had pressed pause. Johnny set the microphone on the desk. Then he stood up, not quickly, not angrily, but with the heavy, heartbreaking grace of a man who has just learned something he cannot ignore. He nodded once, barely perceptible. And then, Johnny Carson walked off stage. The audience didn't react at first. They thought it was a bit, a joke, a setup for something funny. But seconds passed, then more. Johnny didn't return. The guest fell silent. The band froze. The producer stared from offstage, terrified to interrupt the broadcast. For the first time in his career, Johnny Carson had abandoned his show, and no one, not even the people closest to him, knew why. In the days that followed, rumors spread like wildfire. Had he been sick? Was he angry at the guest? Was it a nervous breakdown, a personal crisis, a contract dispute, a hidden feud? No one had answers. Johnny wouldn't talk about it. He returned the next night, calm, charming, composed, almost too composed. The walk-off was never addressed, never explained, never even mentioned again. Producers were instructed not to bring it up. NBC executives pretended it hadn't happened. Even close friends were kept at a distance. Johnny buried the moment, locked it away, moved forward. But someday, all truths unfurl themselves. And years later, after Johnny retired, after the cameras stopped rolling, after the legend became a memory, the truth finally emerged. A truth so raw, so human, it redefined that night entirely. It was a friend, one of the rare people Johnny trusted deeply, who finally shared the story. That night, right in the middle of the show, a producer had received an urgent phone call. Johnny's mother, the complicated, distant, emotionally cold figure who had shaped Johnny in ways the world never knew, had suffered a severe medical collapse. The relationship between Johnny and his mother was one of the great, painful secrets of his life. She was never affectionate, never approving, never proud of him, not even when he became the biggest name in television. Johnny spent decades trying to earn something from her that she never gave: warmth, recognition, love. And yet, despite everything, the news hit him in a place deeper than anyone expected. The producer whispered the message behind the curtain. "Johnny, it's your mother. It's serious." Johnny didn't hesitate. He didn't think about the show, the cameras, the audience, the jokes, the legacy. He just stood up and walked toward the one person he had spent his entire life trying to understand, a mother he loved, but never truly knew. People remember Johnny Carson as a legend, a man of timeless poise, razor wit, and unmatched control. But this moment, this silent walk across the stage, revealed something far more important. It showed the human being behind the icon, a man whose heart could crack, a man who carried wounds no one saw, a man who, when the world demanded entertainment, chose instead to answer the quiet pull of family, no matter how complicated that family was. That night taught us something profound. Even the strongest men carry fragile stories. Even the brightest stars walk through shadows. Even the greatest performers have moments when the show simply doesn't matter. And so, the night Johnny Carson walked off stage became more than a mystery. It became a reminder that behind every legend lives a human heart full of love, pain, memories, and silent battles the world will never fully see.